Hello, I hope you're having a beautiful day so far. Today, I want to talk about debt and the reason why it may make you feel like you're behind. Debt is a horrible thing. I remember when I was close to £30,000 in debt because I was trying to chase the dream of being financially free and being the reason why my family were able to, live a better life, a more fruitful life. But what ended up happening was I would put all this money into all these different programs and high ticket stuff. I was learning to be a speaker. I looked at the whole trading space. I looked at network marketing. I looked at writing a book. I looked at property investing. I've done it all. So I was knowledge rich. Okay. Knowledge rich in terms of so many different types of business facets. Maybe that's the reason why I talk about portfolio careers a lot. But I had nothing to evidence for it. And so racking up this debt, it was back in 2014 and it was surfaced for about 6 or 7 years. But it was only in the last 18 months of that debt where I realized actually I'm going to be in this position forever. I felt like I wasn't man enough to essentially position myself to, again, do the things I say I wanted to do. I was coaching people. I wanted to be a business coach and all this kind of stuff there. But I felt like a fraud. So I just stopped. Hate that feeling. And so spoke to my mom about it and she was like, oh, I knew something was up. She told me to consolidate it and all this kind of stuff there. I paid an additional £1,000 a month on top of £550 I was paying every single month in order to service this stuff. I was living in my overdraft for years because of this decision that I made. And so what happened is because of overpayments, I decided not to go anywhere. Okay. I decided to just focus on just paying this thing off aggressively. And I remember when I had 6 months left to go, I was like, wow, is this actually happening? I got more motivated. Okay. Started looking for other jobs so I could get a promotion to even service it even faster. And so what ended up happening was, and I think this was just before the pandemic, I was able to pay everything off, all of it off. And there was a relief. I felt powerful again. I felt like I could do anything. And so what ended up happening from there was I was able to, like I said, got this new job. I think I wrote my fourth book, The Power of Goals. And there was also, I proposed to my missus, bought a ring and all that kind of stuff there. Retransformed the room that I was in at the time. Saved for a house. I think we saved within 12 months. We were aggressively going in. And this is at the point where I started to contract and, had the deposit for that. It was 11 to 12 months of saving. And then we sort of did up the house. We had our wedding. It was 4.5 months of planning. I'll probably have to do a video on that. 4.5 months end to end. And then like a proper wedding, so to speak. And then we had our honeymoon. All because I decided to pay off the debt. All because of that. And of course, yes, contracting helped, etc., etc. But do you think I would have even considered that? No, because my morale was low. I didn't feel like I was worthy to do a lot of these different stuff. And quite frankly, I wasn't. So I had to prove myself. I had to put in the reps. And it was paying the additional monies. So I get it. I've seen minus and minus before. I've been in a situation where I've been in minus 3,500 in overdraft, and then it's gone over that overdraft. Can you imagine? An unplanned overdraft. Crazy. To the point where it's completely transformed. Of course, it's not been perfect along the way, but 30k debt, not even 10k debt, my friend. And if there is any debt surface, it's because it's planned. Okay, whether it's for a certain amenity or this, that, etc., etc. So if you're in a situation where you have debt, you have to be aggressive with it. I can't stress this enough. You have to. I'm telling you. It's not just a number, it's a delay. When I realized that it would take me up until 2024 to potentially finish my debt, as in last year just gone, late last year just gone. Are you crazy? I've got goals and plans to achieve. I don't have time to be... No, that was never going to happen. So I had to accelerate that very quickly. So if this is a situation where you feel delayed because of debt, you have to think to yourself, what can I do? Can I consolidate? Can I make extra payments? Can I do an extra role? Do I need to reduce my expenses? What can you do to improve your prospects? The second thing is You can't build wealth while paying interest. Now, of course, potentially it's possible, and some financial advisors may say, well, it comes down to the interest rate, where if you have a low interest rate, let's say of 5%, but you're likely to get a return of 10 to 15% if you're going quite aggressive with your stocks and shares, then actually it is possible. Yeah, that may be the case, but let's look at interest. You're typically getting a 19 to 21% APR, sometimes even 35% in some cases, especially if your credit score is low because of the fact that you got debt. And so you're not really in an opportunity to do anything. You can't really save properly. You can't really do much. So it makes sense to get a stable job and just pay off that debt, okay? Or a high paying opportunity, whatever it may be. It's difficult because you have to dig deeper every single day when it comes to this stuff. Discipline is the difference between being stuck and scaling. So say no, that needs to be your favorite word. Say no to everything. Budget wisely and think about the future. You have to think about the future. Delayed gratification is your friend. Stop being the person who puts the rice in the microwave for 1 minute and takes it out with 15 seconds to go. What's wrong with you? There's only 15 seconds to go. This is what I'm saying. Like, in the grand scheme of things, you may have a year left to go. You may have 2 years to go. Yes, it feels long, but stick to the mission, because what you get on the other side is beautiful. I promise you. You have to be in that space. The fourth thing is, I've said this whole thing of no vision, okay? And so everything looks like a good idea. So you may be in a position where, you know, you're ridden by debt and you're just like, actually, it's the business that's going to allow me to escape. That may be the case, but have you got product market fit? Have you tested to see if your audience actually likes what you're doing? Do you have some sort of example of people buying your products and services? Or is it just an idea? Are you jumping from one idea to another? Is there a certain level of intelligent consistency? Be very critical of yourself, my friend. You have to be very critical, because at the end of the day, if you are not critical, you are going to ruin your opportunities. I promise you. I know it's hard, the system, this, that. And of course, this video is not going to be for everyone. I promise you. This is going to be for people who are probably like me, how I was back then. You know, I was earning what? I think I was on like 35k to like 50k during this whole time, because there was an acceleration in what I was doing. I was between those different salaries. And so it was difficult. It was difficult, man. I wasn't making that much money, 35k. Some people may say, oh, that's a lot. If you're younger, oh yeah, whatever. Maybe other people will be like, what? That's nothing. You were able to do that. Yes, of course. Now, I wasn't renting or living in another house, wherever it may be. I was at home because I realized I had to do that. I had to do it. I had no other choice. And so if you're one of those individuals who has to go back home or is at home or whatever it may be, use that opportunity. I know there's a thing called tax. In the black community, we call it black tax. There is that as well. You think I wasn't paid? Fam, yes, man was. You don't even know. If you have to pay that money, you have to pay that money. And this is what I'm saying, sacrifice. If it means that you have to level it down a little bit, you need to have that conversation. You need, and be ballsy about it. This is for the girls and for the guys. I feel like it's more difficult for ladies who are living within a household, if I'm honest with you, especially in more culturally ethnic sort of like groups such as Asian community and the African community, or the Caribbean community, or the Hispanic community, or whatever it may be. It's just slightly different. Again, I don't know much about other communities, but I know this from friends and everything else. There is more pressure for women because people feel like they can just bully them to do what they want them to do. Nah, you can't. You have to think about the vision, you know, because there's no other opportunity or thing that you can do unless you go drastic. And I'm telling you to go drastic. If this is your only chance, then you need to do it. Now, if you don't mind being at home, different story. Okay, not everyone's gonna have the same setup or situation, so bear this in mind. Most people want freedom, but they fund comfort. It's a slap in the face. They fund comfort. Hey, enjoyment, YOLO, let me go here, there, everything. They fund comfort. Do you understand? But they don't realize that there is 20, 30, 40, 50 years of comfort to come if you just spend 1, 2, maybe even 3 years of solidly paying off this thing so you can create the capital to create more opportunities. If you are spending £500, £1,000, £1,500, even £250, maybe even £100 on your debt each month, not doing minimum payment, but you're overpaying, then you know you can save that. You can invest that. You know that for a fact. You can put that into an investment account where you're getting anywhere between an 8 and 12% return. Even if you don't want to learn about stocks and shares, you could use an index fund to do this. Okay, just consistently for a minimum of 5 years up to 20 years as an example. Maybe you invest in a self-invested private pension as an example. Maybe there is a business opportunity where you know there's product market fit and you go for that. You can invest in that, but you know you've got the money. So this is telling you you do have the money. You're just spending it on the wrong things. Stop funding comfort all the time. I'm not saying don't fund it at all, but don't do it all the time. You can tell I'm passionate about this because I've been in a dunya. My friends know, they know I've been in a dunya. And this is why I talk about some of this stuff. It's not easy, but it's possible. It's not easy, but it's possible for some of you. But the other thing I was going to say is that you need to forgive yourself, but don't excuse yourself. And what this really means is, yes, we make mistakes, we're human, things happen, but you have to be in a position where you have that mental fortitude to understand that actually, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to will it into existence. I'm going to make sure that I move a mountain in order for me to live the life and create the vision that I'm looking to create, irrespective of what's happening around me. This is what I'm going to do. I know I got myself in a position. I know I can take myself out of it. You have to tell yourself that every single day. Forgive yourself for what you've done, but move forward. That's what it's about. It's about moving forward. And I know some people are like, it's easier said than done. This was easy for you. You don't know me. You don't know me. I'm saying this for you. I'm embarking this on you because I believe you have the ability to do it. I believe you have the ability to do it. So have a different mindset. Change the established set of attitudes in your mind and focus on winning. Focus on the result and focus on what you're aiming to do. Look at your budget, see what you can cut out, see if you can get a different job. Of course, I know the job market is very difficult. I've been talking about it on my channel. See if there are ways in which you can accelerate your sort of payments. Stay disciplined. Say no to stuff if you have to. Just focus on making sure you clear it because on the other side is a beautiful life. On the other side is a self-fulfilled life. On the other side is the potential for your future to be bright. But it starts at the now. So hopefully this has given you some sort of inspiration and invigoration in terms of how you can move forward when it comes to clearing your debt so you can be the person you're called to be. If you want to see more videos centered around these types of topics, portfolio careers, soft economics, anything centered around consulting or independent contracting, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach and expand. Peace.